Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our financial scoop, the last one in the series. And today we're going to be talking about estate planning benefits. My name is Migdalia Gomez, and I will be joined by Terrence Bazil. He will be in the chat helping us out today. And for those of you that have not done a Zoom webinar in a while, you are all muted. So if you're having chips or anything loud in the background, we will not hear it. We are going to use the Q&A today. So if you do submit anything, use the Q&A just as you would for the chat. To make sure that you can use it and that you know where it is, please let us know where are you joining us from today and how long have you been a member? And if you're not an HUECU member, no worries, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So please, using the Q&A, let us know where are you joining us from and how long have you been a member? That will help us for a couple of reasons. It will make I'll know that you can hear us, that you're good to go, and we'll use that throughout today for questions. And you can also submit your questions anonymously as well. So as folks are submitting those, also know that this is being recorded. We had a good amount of folks that registered today and so many questions that were submitted. So we most likely will go over the 30 minutes allotted, but you have to log off, absolutely fine. Know that we will send you a recording. But today's presentation is one that you submitted the questions, so Gentreo will do a very high-level overview, and then we're going to answer the questions that you submitted at registration. Okay, awesome. I see that people are joining from New York, Massachusetts. So far, I see somebody has been a member since 1980s, so I think they're the longest member. And then someone that's joining us from the UK, so I think they won from joining us from the furthest location. Thank you so much, everyone. A lot of people, 30 plus years. So awesome. So glad to see that. We will also have a survey at the end and know that we are having a raffle. So just by joining, you're already entered. Nothing you have to do on your end. You'll get an email either from myself, Migdalia Gomez, or from Terrence Bazil, letting you know that you won. But again, you don't have to do anything. We will notify winners by early next week. And for those that aren't familiar with us, we are Harvard's not-for-profit financial institution. We do the same as a bank when it comes to products and services, but the biggest difference is that as a not-for-profit, our profit goes back to you. So we're able to take those profits and say, how could we do better things for the community? And one of the things that we can do is now offer you digital estate planning. So with that, I will also put in the link in the chat, or I think Terrence might, for where you can see the recordings for our other financial scoop presentations. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Kate, Julie, and Jake, who will be answering Jake will be answering some questions in the Q&A, and then Julie and Mary Kate, who will be presenting today from Gentreo. So I'll turn it over to you, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Very, very excited to get started with your group because we really have the same mission, which is to make sure that we help our members. So for us, what we do is we provide online estate planning so that everybody can protect what they love. We make it easy, fast, and this is a great benefit that the Harvard University Employee Credit Union offers so that you can make sure that you prepare all the documents that you need with many times without the help of a lawyer so that you can make sure that you're protecting what you need. My name is Julie Fry. I have over 20 years of experience in caregiving. I work for the National Association for Home Care and Hospice. Also with us is our Chief Legal Officer, Mary Kate, and I'll let Mary Kate introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. As Julie said, I'm attorney Mary Kate D'Souza. I'm the Chief Legal Officer of Gentreo, and I have over 20 years of experience in estate planning, litigation, and elder law issues.
Okay, and then if we can, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So Gentreo provides online estate planning, and estate planning allows you to take control of your choices. Not only who gets all your stuff and your assets after you pass away, but what happens and who can help you provide care and make sure that they have the documents available so that you are protected even as you're still alive. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And what we are so impassioned about is making sure that you have those tools, because right now, 80% of Americans don't have their estate plan completed. whether it be they don't have a will in place or their power of attorney or their healthcare proxy. We want to end all that, and we want to make sure that we provide you with the tools so that you are educated, and we want to empower you to make sure that you can create the estate plan that works best for you. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Mary Kate, who can really go through a little bit more of the details of what estate planning is and how you can prepare.
Yeah, so what is estate planning? Estate planning, there's a lot of misconceptions and myths about it, and people tend to think only of a will, and think it's only for high wealth individuals. In fact, estate planning is for everyone, not just for the wealthy. You can go ahead to the next slide. Yep. It encompasses so much more than just the will. And so let's go through some of the essential estate planning documents. Beginning with the will, which most of us are familiar with, this is a document in which you can give your assets, your hard-earned assets, to people that you choose. And it gives you an opportunity to protect your children by nominating guardians for them. And it also gives you an opportunity to control who is going to become appointed as your personal representative. That's basically the manager of your estate. The problem with not having one is that you're no longer controlling decisions about the most intimate things in your life. Now what happens is that the court's making decisions, such as who's going to be guardian of your minor children, and under the rules of intestacy of the state, it's going to show how your assets are going to be distributed. The next slide, please. Sorry. Trusts are another way in which you can manage your estate. Some people choose to do this because of privacy issues. A will is a public document that gets probated in the court, whereas trusts are not generally available in the court unless there's litigation involving it. A trust allows you to use funds after your death or during your lifetime if you're incapacitated. The majority of people don't need a trust-based estate plan, but as I said, some people for privacy reasons would prefer that. And one of the critical things with trusts that you really need to pay attention to is it's not just creating the document. So for a will, you create the document and you review it, every year to make sure it reflects your current wishes, but you don't have to do anything else. For a trust, creating the document is just the first step. After that, you have to fund it with whatever assets you want the trust to control. A healthcare proxy, also known as a medical power of attorney, a power of attorney for healthcare, is a document in which you appoint someone to make medical decisions for you. When you don't have one of these, again, what happens is your loved ones are forced to go to court to get the authority to make the necessary healthcare decisions for you. And that's a lot of emotional stress, and it costs money and time. And in terms of who needs this document, it's any capable adult American over 18. That's who would need to have one of these documents. A Gentreo healthcare proxy includes components that you would normally find in a living will about life-sustaining treatment. It also gives you an opportunity to make any other specific instructions that you want for your healthcare agent, and the HIPAA release. Power of attorney or financial power of attorney is analogous to the healthcare proxy, but instead of making medical decisions, this is the person you appoint to make financial decisions for you. And again, you decide how much or how little authority you want your power of attorney, also known as attorney in fact, or your agent to have. And you want to have a power of attorney so that if you become incapacitated but still alive, someone else has authority to take over bill pay and managing your assets. And one of the questions that we often get is, who should I appoint to be my financial power of attorney? you really need to decide who in your life do you trust implicitly, because this document gives someone great power over your money, right? So you want to make sure it's someone that you trust absolutely and is someone that has the skills to manage money. Gentreo, in addition to offering a suite of documents for humans, offers a suite of documents for pets. Many of us care for our pets like family. We want to make sure they're protected just like the human members of our family. One of the documents you can use to help with that protection is what's known as a power of attorney for pet care, or pet care power of attorney. This document gives you an opportunity to put down specific financial and care wishes that you want for your pet. When would someone need something like a pet power of attorney? 2 times, really. One is for short-term care. For example, if you're traveling or something like this, or you have a pet sitter that you use every day, you might want to give them a pet power of attorney in case something happens. You might also want to consider it for long-term. If you get incapacitated, but again, are still alive, who do you want to take care of your pet? And it's critical to have some type of documentation of authority, because we've had a lot of reports of incidences in which vets won't give the necessary care for the pet without the authority that's encompassed in the pet power of attorney. I'll turn it back to Julie. Thank you.
Thanks. And Mary Kate outlined briefly what documents are available. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about what Gentreo is, and then how you can create those legally binding documents to make sure that they were representative of your wishes. So go ahead. Gentreo is built so that everybody can create their own estate plan. You don't need to be a lawyer. It's basically, I kind of equate it to TurboTax for estate planning, where what we do is we take your individual situation, and then based on that, what state do you live in? Do you have kids? Are you caring for your parents? Do you have pets, etc.? And we help guide you through creating those documents that are pertinent and important to you. As I'd mentioned, we're across all 50 states, and we create documents and help you create the documents. And then we give you very specific instructions to make sure that you get them executed or made legal in your state, because all the documents that you are creating are legally binding. In addition, we want to make sure that we educate you throughout the whole entire process. So from that, what we do is we provide you with the tools so that we go in, look at your individual situation, pull up and give you suggestions of what documents that you can create, and then guide you throughout that whole entire process. If you actually could go back one slide, what we do is we provide you with all of the documents. So if you want to come in and you want to do just the will, you can do just your will. If you want to come in and do just your healthcare proxy because you know you're having a surgery, or you know there's an issue and you want to get a HIPAA release, etc., you can do that. Or if you want to come in and complete your complete estate plan, like a living trust with a pour over will and a pet trust, etc., Gentreo is built so that you can complete all of your documents. All of your documents are included in your membership. So whether you complete 1 or whether you complete 10 documents, all of that is included as part of your membership. And again, Mary Kate went through most of those. Again, to mention the pet trust, we also have the pet information card, the emergency cards, because what we want to do is we want to help you prepare your family in the event of an emergency. So not only are we helping you first create the documents, we help educate you on how you make those legal in your state. But then that real beauty of Gentreo comes up, where we then provide tools so that you can upload those into a secure digital vault that you can share with your family or friends or whoever you choose. Couple of important things. Number one, security is extremely important to us. And so we're built on secure servers, and you control the information. That means that if you want to share your pet card or your pet POA with your next door neighbor who takes care of your dog, you can do that. Or if you want to share all of your information with your daughter who lives 4 states away, you can do that. When you share with somebody within your team, within your circle, which we call a team membership, that team membership is free for them, and they can only access the information that you share with them. This is really important because, again, we're built with security in mind, so that they need to create that free membership because they access the information on the Gentreo site, so that we securely share that information. In addition, if you want to share additional information, like not only your documents, but almost just importantly, is that really important critical information, like where are your assets? Who is your accountant? Who should they contact if they need their medical information? You know, what is your medical information? Do you have allergies? Who are your doctors, etc.? You choose what information that you want to upload, and then you choose who shares that information. It's really important because in the event of an emergency, you want to make sure that you've created a place for your family to turn to so that they aren't trying to find that information. As Mary Kate had mentioned, she's had over 20 years experience with estate planning. And it's not about just creating the documents, but it's about making sure that your friends and your family have access to those documents. So when they do need to use them, everybody knows what your choices are, and everybody knows and has access to the information. In addition, as you're creating your estate plan and creating those documents, we provide you with education along the way, so that you understand what questions that we're asking, what decisions that you're making, and what some of the implications of those decisions are. Throughout the process, you'll have ways to get help, whether it be FAQs, information based on where you are throughout creating a specific document so you don't have to hunt and peck. Or if you have further information, there's a resource center with blogs, videos, information. Or we also have one-on-one live technical coaching, so that if you need to find out information and how to use Gentreo, etc., we'll be there for you. It's really important for you to know we are not a law firm, and we aren't going to give you specific legal advice. But what we will do, and what our live coaches will do, is we will make sure that the decisions that you make you're using the Gentreo tools to make sure that your decisions are made legal, and making sure that you are able to communicate with your friends and family. In addition, we also we talked about the online storage. That's part of your membership, and that's all included as well. And then finally, or 2 other quick things. Number 1, we want to make sure that we have tools for you no matter what stage you're at. If you're, just starting a family and want to make sure that you have something in place, so you can say who cares for your children, or whether you're retired and preparing your family and doing end-of-life planning, etc. We have tools throughout your entire life cycle. And then number 2, we will help you with an annual review, so that as your lives change and you hit milestones, etc., we give you the tools to make sure that your estate plan is reflective of what your life is today. And then finally, we also help you create and prepare your legacy, whether it be with creating memorial videos, updating what your funeral plans are, or making sure that you're able to share memories with those that you choose. Gentreo is about more than just creating documents and being one and done. We provide you with the tools to create those documents, create a home for your family to turn to in emergency, and make sure that you can prepare your legacy. So if you want to go to the next slide. And again, as a member of the Harvard Employee University Credit Union, this is a huge benefit for you because this is provided as a tool and as a membership benefit, and does a couple of things. Number one, if you have additional questions or information, the Harvard Credit Union actually has information on their website that you can go to, or you can access and ask questions through the network so that somebody at your credit union can help answer those questions. And then number two, if you do have additional questions, again, I just want to reiterate that we will have that Gentreo one-on-one support to make sure that you're answering you get all of your questions answered, and you're creating that plan that works for you. In addition, if you do have questions, like how much does it cost or what is the benefit, all that is included on the Harvard University Credit Union's website. And so all that information is provided there. And we can talk a little bit more about that as well. So if you want to go to the next slide, if you have additional questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll get those answered. But I do know that we actually asked for some questions, and we have a ton of questions that we want to make sure that we review now and
Thanks,
try to
Julie.
review those.
I can get us started with those. And I'm just looking at time. So we have about 10 minutes. I know we'll stay on for an additional 15. So we have about 20, I'll say 25 minutes between both. So if folks have to jump off, feel free to do so, but know that we will send you the Q&A, the recording afterwards. And I'll get us started with the first question, which is for you, Julie. How do we start estate planning?
So the one you're going to have a link as a Harvard Employee Credit Union member. They'll provide you with a link that you can go in to join Gentreo, and basically it walks you through specifically what your situation is. What state do you live in? Each state has specific documents, and to make those documents legal, they're all different. Then from there, just follow the prompts. There's videos that'll help you, show you what documents that you can create. And then from there, how to make those documents legal. And then the system will actually help you upload and create that digital vault.
Thank you.
Follow that link that you're sent from the credit union.
Thank you, Julie. And Terrence will also put the link in the chat, which is hucu.org/Gentreo. So the next question that we have, Mary Kate, is for you. How can you plan your estate for your descendants so they don't incur a big tax bill?
Yeah, so this question is interesting, and of course it's very fact specific, and it's not really clear about so in Massachusetts there's no inheritance tax on what you inherit. And so say like you bought a house for 100,000, and when you die it's worth 500,000, your descendants would get the stepped up basis and so there wouldn't be a capital gain there. If you're referencing the taxes for estates over $11 million, which is roughly what the federal estate tax exemption is now, for those type of estates, you do need to consult with an attorney. Gentreo is not the solution for you, because you want to make sure that you've set up your estate to maximize maximize the tax sheltering benefits of various trusts to preserve the assets for your family. And there's also opportunities to donate to charities, which also helps.
2 quick points with that. If you do need an attorney, Gentreo can help you find an estate planning attorney in your state. And with that, we have partnerships with those attorneys so that they do not charge more than $250 an hour. So that way we try to keep the cost and reduce the cost as much as possible for you. But as Mary Kate said, when you're dealing with a larger estate, you probably will want to talk to a financial advisor and an attorney, and we can help point you in the right direction to find that partner attorney.
Thank you. And Julie, I think this one was for you. How can I create a will and testament?
Gentreo, we have a 4-step process. Number 1, come on and get registered. Number 2, basically fill out a survey that walks you step by step through what those decisions are, like who's going to be the executive of your estate. If they can't do it, who should be a backup? Who do you want to take care of your children? Who do you want to leave things to? Like, do you want to leave things to charities, or do you want to leave things to your children, etc.? You follow the instructions step by step. It prints out a PDF when you're done. That first page of that PDF will have a step-by-step instructions on how you make that document legal in your state. So most of the times you'll need to get those notarized and signed in front of a notary. Sorry, we live on an ocean. You can probably hear the tanker. And so then what you want to do is you want to make sure that if you do need something notarized, I would encourage you to go into the credit union, because most credit union, most of the offices do have a notary that's available to you. And so make sure you're going back to your credit union and call them ahead of time. And you may be able to get it notarized very quickly and easily right there, but definitely give them a ring ahead of time.
Thanks, Julie. And yes, all of our members have access to free notaries, and you can just schedule an appointment at huecu.org/locations. So the
Great.
next question, and I've heard this often as well from some of our members, is how is Gentreo different from traditional methods of setting up wills, trusts, and other estate planning situations?
So the biggest way that we're different is we empower you to make those decisions at your own pace, at your own time, without expensive lawyers. So that, and then we make it really easy, because our goal is to make sure that if you have a simple estate, within 15 minutes, you can create that will. If you have a more complicated estate, you can make sure that you go step by step and create the estate plan that works for you. For Gentreo, we're not just that one and done where you come in and you do your will and you're done. We stay with you throughout your life, so that if you have another child, we can incorporate that into your estate plan. If you had, unfortunately, your spouse pass away, we can incorporate that into your estate plan. If you want to make sure that you're preparing your family, you can create that digital home that they can turn to. It's more than just that one and done. It's really making sure that you have that full experience to make sure that your wishes are known, that your family is prepared, and everybody has those legal documents to make sure that your wishes are carried out.
Yes, and just Julie, adding to that, Gentreo, it's not just about creating the documents. We really, really want you to be able to use them. I can tell you as an attorney in practice that oftentimes we would have clients that knew one of their loved ones had prepared a healthcare proxy, or had prepared a will, or prepared a financial power attorney, and they could not find it. So it was essentially like they never did any preparation. So it's very important, and it's one of the great features of Gentreo that we not only enable you to create your own documents, but to store and share them with the people you want.
Thank you, Mary Kate and Julie. And actually, that brings up a really good point. We're going to have two presentations coming up, one September 21st, which will be estate planning one-on-one. And then on November 9th, we'll have a presentation about talking to your family about estate planning. So on the same page that you can learn more about Gentreo, you can register for those. And then, Julie, I know you mentioned this, but somebody did ask when they registered, does Gentreo provide an estate planning checklist?
Yes. In fact, we actually have multiple checklists. So we have a general estate planning checklist, and the system will walk you through that as well. It'll give you a little alerts that, do you want to do this, that, etc. But then also for each document, just to make sure that when you get into creating a power of attorney for finances, before you get started with the process, there's actually a little video, and we make sure that you have a checklist so that you are prepared, so that when you do get into it, you have everything ready to go, and that it's very easy, and you have that information available to you so that you can easily create and fill out those surveys.
Thank you. And I know some folks may need to jump off now at 1:30, but we have about 10 more questions left and 15 minutes. So I'll ask this one, I believe is for you, Mary Kate, which is it advisable to put burial plans in a will or your instructions?
So uh, it is advisable to express your desires about this, and it's really important to communicate it. In terms of putting it in the will, the reality is by the time the will gets probated and a personal representative is in charge and has the authority to do anything, usually by then some decisions already been made in regards to the bodily remains. So I generally do not advise putting those instructions in the will, just because for practical matters, it won't, there's no authority behind it in a timely way. However, as I said, it is important to leave instructions as to what you want, and that's actually one of the upcoming products for Gentreo. We're gonna make a form available.
It's so we actually, in the milestones section, we have something called funeral planning that does a couple of things. It gives you information. There's a video there, there's a checklist there, there's an ultimate guide there, but then it also has the digital vault. And in the digital vault, there's an area for you to store all of your information. So for example, if you have a burial plot already, where is it? Is it paid for? XYZ. All that information you can upload into your digital vault, and then you can share it with whoever that you choose. And again, it's free for them to access that information and for you to share it with them.
Thank you. And Mary Kate, another question for you. What are the most common estate planning mistakes?
The biggest ones are the ones we've already talked about. One is not doing anything and sort of trusting it'll all work out. It absolutely need to write down what it is you want, unless you sincerely do not care about any of these things. And the other crucial piece is being able to use the documents. I'd say those were the most critical. Another issue that often comes up, and again, there's a reluctance in wanting to confront or deal with it, is sometimes, you know, all of us don't have perfect families, that there are tensions among certain people or whatever. Without transparent and clear communication in the front, it can, being expressed while you're creating these documents, it sometimes causes hurt feelings at the end, so that when someone's incapacitated, the siblings might be like, well, why did mom choose you instead of me, or whatever. Whereas if the person who's creating the healthcare proxy says, well, I'm choosing Mary Kate because she lives near me and she's a nurse and this is her skill set, and I'm choosing Julie because she's great at finances and she can do that, you know. So like everything else in life, communication is important. But I'd say the two biggest ones for estate planning are not doing it, or doing it and then not letting people know where the documents are and how they can be used. And the point that Julie made earlier, not just the legal documents, but if you're putting someone in charge of your finances, they need to know the details about your finances, where you do your banking. You know, we all know that everyone on here does their banking with Harvard Credit Union, but that would be another element.
And one other thing that I did want to mention is another common mistake is people assume that just because they're married, they don't need to have an estate plan in place, because once they're married, their husband or wife gets everything. They don't have to worry about anything, etc. And that actually is not true. And each person, when you're married, should have their own estate plan. And so each person should have their own will, each person should have their own power of attorney, should have their own healthcare proxy, etc. And that's because in the state, and basically your decisions may be slightly different from what your spouse chooses. So one of the things you do want to make sure is, if you are married, both of you should have an estate plan.
Thank you, Julie.
And I know that we have a good amount of questions left, so I'm going to thank Julie and Mary Kay, maybe do these now sort of rapid fire, but I want to remind folks that you can register for the Estate Planning 101. So that'll be an hour, 45 minutes. And then we have another one, which is talking to your family about estate planning, which is on November 9th. So the next one that we have is For you, Mary Kate, can I upload already created estate planning documents or do I need to create new ones?
If the ones you already have address your current life circumstances, that's fine. Upload them and share them so that people can help you.
Thank you. And then Julie, I know you talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but do the estate planning options vary state by state?
Yes. And so the names of the documents are a little bit different. The choices that you make, how they get them executed are all different. But yes, each state is state specific.
And Mary Kay, this is a good one. Aretha Franklin's handwritten will was accepted. Is a handwritten will allowed in Mass? And I will say we do have some people that are joining from out of state, so I'm pretty sure it may vary, but if you could answer that question.
You're on mute.
I apologize. Yes. So a handwritten will, there's nothing preventing a handwritten will. The problem with a handwritten will is that there's a statute of wills that outlines how a will gets allowed in court. And with Gentreo, our forms are set up so that the witnessing and the notarization requirements as required in Massachusetts to have a self-proved will are there. And that's the same, you know, if you go to an attorney, the attorney in that district obviously is going to know the rules. For people handwriting it, you're not generally people who handwrite a will, it's like they're in the hospital and they're about to go into surgery and they just write something up really quick without any of the surrounding details. And so then what happens is that will gets called into question because, you know, a family member who maybe got excluded from that will is going to challenge it saying, you know, she was heavily drugged, she didn't know what she was doing or whatever. So it's not that it's prohibited per se, but it does open up a whole can of worms.
Thank you. Lots to consider there. And Julie, we've received a couple of questions about this in the chat, but can you talk a little bit about what estate planning services are free to all HUECU members?
So that actually is available on your website. And so I would encourage you all to go to the website. And I know that you put it in the chat. And basically, if you qualify as a HUECU member to receive Gentreo for free, everything is included that we talked about. All of your documents, whether it's one or all of them, the digital vault, the one-on-one coaching if you need it, and the webinars, the education, all of that is included and as part of your membership.
And speaking of membership, someone asked Mary Kate, apart from hosting and being able to share the documents, what are the benefits of a perpetual subscription to Gentreo?
Apart from hosting. Oh, I see. So, well, the other benefit of a perpetual subscription is, and the point Julie's made earlier, is that we're here with you through all life circumstances, all the different changes that happen in our life. And it makes it easy to pivot and readjust your estate planning documents based on this new change in circumstance. What happens is when people go see an attorney, they tend to view it as Julie quoted, you know, one and done. I've met with an attorney and that's it. And so actually one of our team members, this happened to him with his father, that the father never did a new will and he had a whole new family. And he's still probating it 7 years later in California. So we're able to we enable you to readily and quickly make new documents based on your new life circumstances. And that's part of the annual review process that Julie mentioned, which is another benefit. Gentreo seeks to be your digital home base, sort of your one place to stop for all of these issues so that everyone knows where to turn to in a crisis.
That annual review is very important. I know we do it for our benefits at work, so why not do it also for estate planning? And then Julie, which family members can I prepare documents for in Gentreo?
Yep. So if you can actually use the membership to actually prepare documents for those people that you care for, as long as they are legally capable of making a decision. So for example, if your mom already has a dementia and isn't capable of making a decision, it's too late at that point. Or, but if you are caring for parents, that is really important to do. Also, if you have an adult child, like somebody, if your kid is going off to college, you want to make sure that they have the big ones in place, like their healthcare proxy, so that you can talk to their medical team, or their power of attorney for finances if you need to pay their bills, etc., or their will. So this is something you do want to make sure that if you are preparing documents for your other family members, that they have, they're legally capable of making a decision.
Love that point about the college students. We're at that time, back to school time. So definitely important for parents to think about that now. And then another question that came in is, Mary Kate, is Gentreo helpful for adults without children who may be in a nursing home one day?
I think what this question is referencing, first of all, Gentreo is helpful for adults without children. Absolutely, you can use it to create the documents you would need, all the ones that we've already talked about, right? Healthcare, proxy, power of attorney, and your will. In terms of who may be in need of a nursing home one day, if by this the person's referencing that they want to create a irrevocable trust to protect assets so that they don't have to pay for nursing home care, Gentreo right now would not be able to help you with that because we do not offer an irrevocable trust.
Thank you. And then Julie, our second to last question. I have very little financial worth or savings, and my stepson is an adult. Is it still important to have a will?
Yes. And the reason being is that when you do pass away, it makes things so much easier, because then not only will he have those legal documents, but then all those decisions are already there, already made for you. And then also, it's also, you can create documents like your healthcare proxy that gives him the ability to make sure that they can talk to your doctors or make medical decisions for you. So you want to make sure that you have those documents in place now while you're still living, because a good estate plan starts now.
And Mary Kate, our last question before we open up to any other questions that may have come in and when we summarize some other resources that we have is, would this service be applicable to someone who has a lifelong disability like autism?
So as we all know, autism has a wide degree of a spectrum, right? Of a person's capacity and functioning. If the autistic person has high functioning and has legal capacity to make other decisions, then the service would be acceptable for them. If this is an autistic person that is dependent upon others to make all their decisions and is perhaps under guardianship or something, this would not be a service for them because it's a self-serve model. So you need to have capacity to be able to create and execute the documents.
Thank you. And thank you both for answering all those questions. Our members had even more questions, but I think if we wouldn't have time, unfortunately, to answer all of them. But for those of you that are still on the webinar, and I see you have a good amount, if there are additional questions, please use the time now to put them in the Q&A. We may have time to take maybe one more while I go through some of these remaining slides. And I also want to say big thank you to Jake, who has been answering some of those questions. And I know when he answers them, then all of you that are on can also see them. Just a quick reminder for those of you that maybe heard about Gentreo and thinking now, oh, this would be great for someone else in our family to become a member. We do have a member referral program. So if anyone that is related to you, so parents, siblings, grandparents, children, is interested in becoming a member or a coworker or a friend, if they join, you both earn $50 into your savings account. And also Terrence will be putting, if I believe actually may already have done it in the chat, he will be putting the link to a survey. So please let us know, what did you think about Gentreo? What other questions do you have for them in the future? We also recommend that you attend the other two webinars that we have. You can never have too much information, and especially not about estate planning. As you heard from Mary Kate and Julie, there's so much that you have to consider. Also want to do that, even though, yes, Mary Kate is an attorney and yes, Julie is very knowledgeable as well about estate planning. This is general information. The documents that you will complete on the Gentreo website, yes, those are legal. But for today's conversation, none of it was estate planning advice in the sense of get this will versus this. It's very general and educational in nature. So I will see if there are any other questions. I don't see anything at the moment, but I may be Julie or Mary Kate, not sure if you have any closing thoughts or suggestions while we wait to see if there are any additional questions that are submitted?
We're really excited because, again, our mission aligns directly with your mission at the credit union to make sure that our members are protected and prepared. And so if you do have any additional questions or the ways that we can help, reach out to the credit union. They'll be able to help answer your questions. You're also welcome to reach out directly to Gentreo at the info@gentreo.com. And again, we're very excited so that we can make it easy for you to protect what you love. So thank you very much for that opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. And big round of applause for Julie, Mary Kate, and Jake for everything that you've shared. And thank you, everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.